Alright lads, welcome back to the Inside Minecraft podcast, back for yet another week again. Today we are joined with a bit of a different guest. So I don't know how to say, I guess they are a content creator, but they're more streaming. I mean, I've had streamers on before and I've had server owners on before, but this one's a little bit different because they're not really a Minecraft streamer per se, but they do have Minecraft related stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but I will let them introduce themselves in a minute anyways. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope you're doing well also, Cruubs.
Hello, hello. My name is Cruubs, also known as Cruubs01 and Cruubs ?
And
that's me.
What was your Twitter name again? Oh god, what is it? It's
Hi guys, 7789742. It's an interesting story, that one, honestly, because I used to be called Hi Guy throughout all of my sort of not social media presence, but internet presence, and then a few things happened and it changed into Cruubs very randomly, but I'm rolling with it now.
Cruubs seems to work anyways. It's nice and easy to remember.
Yep.
Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit in Cruubs? Let the viewers know who you are, what you do, kind of thing.
Yes, I am sort of a content creator, as you said, more of a streamer. I mostly stream whenever I feel like it, to be fair. But I'd say first and foremost, I am a storyteller at heart.
Storyteller. You run your own podcast, SMP, which we'll get into,
yes,
of course.
Which we will, of course. Yes, I am a storyteller. I enjoy telling stories. It's a really fun hobby of mine. I'm writing a book. I'm writing an SMP. I'm writing another SMP. You know, that sort of stuff.
Of course, you're writing a book. Do you have a name for that yet that you can reveal, or no?
Yeah, it's called The Will of Corruption.
The Will of Corruption. And what's it about?
Yes, it is a sci-fi fantasy, or as I like to call it, a cosmic fantasy sort of thing. Cosmic sci-fi, maybe. It's as I said, it's a mix between high sci-fi and high fantasy. I like to explain fantasy in a very, I suppose, scientific way, or more of logical way. There we go. Not like Harry Potter, where you've got, random spells. It's a logical thought process, a bit like Avatar, I suppose.
Okay, because Avatar's very real and logical.
Yes, it's very real and logical.
So Cruubs, I'd like to say we're friends. I don't really call many people friends, but I know we don't talk a lot, but I'd like to say we're good friends.
I'd like to say you're my friend as well.
So us meeting was kind of interesting. We met through me, well, I guess in quotation marks, joining an SMP, which I never actually joined. And
our first proper meetup was playing, I believe it was Into the Backrooms or something.
No, it was before that. It was playing the one game, the Crab game.
Crab game. Oh, was it Crab game first?
We played that before Backrooms, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no. Crab game was fun. That Crab game session was really fun.
Well, we also had we had an introduction before that as well, because we were talking about something before. I think it was during OT's stream. We just got into a conversation and we kind of, I don't know.
I think that was the Backroom stream.
I could have sworn Crab games was first before Backrooms. Oh no, it wasn't. Oh no, Backrooms must have been first. You're right.
Yes, I think Backrooms was first, and then I
into Crab games. Yeah. Okay.
It all went from there.
So obviously we kind of met outside Minecraft, which is going to be interesting, and it's like I told you before the podcast as well. This is it's called Inside Minecraft, but I do every now and then, and I know it doesn't really make much sense, kind of want to have people who aren't very Minecraft. For instance, earlier you were streaming Overwatch, I believe.
It wasn't Overwatch. It was Destiny 2.
Destiny. Oh god, my bad.
The worst game to ever exist. But
yeah,
I love it.
You love it. Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
So you stream different games. You stream Destiny. Yesterday, I'm not sure if you were live, but I know OT was playing something. Because I was meant to be playing in it, but I was out all day yesterday. I was just really tired.
Was it a dinosaur game by any chance?
I can't remember what the name was. SCP or something, maybe.
SCP. Yes, I was in there as well. Yeah. It was a big SCP event I did with some other streamers like Apathy, Sinnoh,
I was meant to join, but I didn't because I went to a basketball event yesterday, but I didn't realize how long it was going to be, and I didn't get home until 9 p.m.
I see.
So I was like, I'll probably sit this one out. I've been out for 9 hours. I'm shattered, which was sad, but I do want to play in one again. I do want to play in one at one point because I do enjoy it.
The more the merrier, my friend. The more the merrier. Whenever you're available for one of those, you don't even need to invite yourself. Just join.
Just join, exactly.
Just join, yeah.
So alongside the book, obviously you run a podcast. You're on a podcast, called Cruubscast, I believe, if I'm correct.
Cruubscast, yes.
Very original name. Wonder where that comes from.
Very original name, I know.
And you run Astra SMP.
I do. I run Astra SMP.
So that's basically. Oh yeah, go on.
Well, it's an SMP. It's a bit modded, just a slight bit,
Just a tiny bit modded to the point where I think it set my PC on fire when I logged on. But just a tad bit. I will admit though, from the point at which you joined, we've removed a lot of mods. A lot of them have gone. We're slowly taking a journey into a more vanilla experience, I suppose.
suppose. I would still call the previous experience more vanilla, but whatever. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Vanilla with less mods, if you must.
Well, yeah, precisely.
So I guess. Oh yeah, go on.
I would say that Ad Astra is primarily I am a storyteller, so it's primarily a lore SMP thing. I will admit, I think like mentioned, I have a great passion for storytelling, and I think I might have, how do I say this, gone down the SMP rabbit hole a bit too much.
We'll talk about it in a second. So hold it for a second.
Okay.
We got a whole section about this. Just on.
Understood.
The intro is more for your introduction. If we keep everything SMP related, then I might be able to turn it into a highlight a little bit easier.
Cool, wonderful.
I hate to cut you off, but you understand I'm running a podcast yourself.
Fine by me.
So I guess with you being introduced as to who you are, what you do, let's talk about your past a little bit. We're not gonna go like really deep into your past, Cruubs, about like, you know, how if it's fucked up, how fucked up it was, obviously. not that kind of dwelling. Don't worry.
Good, it's a trauma podcast.
Yeah, no, don't worry. We're not gonna. I'm not a therapist, not today, anyways. Let's talk about, for starters, touching more on the Thai guy Cruubs thing. Where did the name Cruubs or Cruubs01 or Cruubs ? Even come from?
So you see, there's this streamer named XQC.
Okay.
As all good stories begin.
Oh, this is great. It's gonna be a great story.
There was a particular meme that was a meme, I suppose, or like a joke that was running through his chat at one point. This was a while back. There is this emote. Have you heard of People Glad?
Yep, of course I do.
People Glad. There was a joke running in XQC's chat, which was like People Glad and then Cruubs with like Cruubs, and they would put this through his text to speech thingy, like Cruubs, and it was I don't know. I found it funny.
Must spell
That's
the
literally
same way
the only
your
reason.
name spelled? Or?
Yeah, literally the same way my name's spelled.
And then because you were such a massive fanboy, you decided to name yourself after.
Yeah,
I mean
dude, I'm not gonna lie. XQC, honestly, in terms of content creation anyway, in terms of streaming, he's probably my biggest inspiration, simply because it's a cult of personality. He can play anything. He's gotten to the point where he can play anything, and he'll still get like 50,000 viewers. It's insane to me.
That is
People
true,
watch
yeah.
him for him, and not him for whatever game he plays. He's not tied to a specific game, I suppose.
Which is where everyone wants to be, but not everyone gets there. Like, he's not lucky enough because he worked for it, but there's also a luck aspect as well where he can do that.
Oh yeah, of course. It's a bit of both. I mean, he worked very hard in terms of his streaming career, but
course, yeah.
it is a bit of both.
So with Cruubs, obviously you just find it funny. Any reason for the 01 or the exclamation mark, question mark, or whatever order that's in, or is that just that you just said screw it, let's slap something with it?
The question mark, exclamation mark was just, honestly, this particular name, this Cruubs name, it didn't, like, there was no thought put into it. This was originally the name of my alt account, which the alt account to Thai guy, I suppose. Yeah. And I just question mark, exclamation mark. I was like, oh, that's funny, like Cruubs, like what? I thought it was funny. And the 01 comes from the fact that I think it was one is the if you press shift 1, it's exclamation mark, obviously.
Yeah.
And question mark would be dash, I suppose. But I couldn't name myself on Twitch question mark, exclamation mark.
Yeah.
So I did just 01, I suppose.
Oh, that makes sense. And that's actually so it's actually brackets 1 then on Twitch.
I suppose it would be. Yeah, I suppose it would be.
So there wasn't much thought process behind that. So your name is actually pronounced Cruubs, or however you do. I can't do it as good as you do.
Cruubs.
That's actually how you meant to say it.
That's where the joke comes from. But people just call me Cruubs, and I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, why not?
I mean, sometimes I call you Crubble. I don't know where that's come from, but I've decided.
I don't know where that's come from either.
And so
I've been called.
Like Bubble.
I've been called like Cruubsy Wubsy and shit. Like
Cruubsy Wubsy.
I've had a great deal of variation in terms of my name.
That's a good name. I might start calling that from now on. I think actually, I might tell that the podcast instead of Cruubs, it might just be Crubby Wubby.
Oh my goodness, please no.
Okay, so I guess alongside your past kind of idea, how did you get into playing Minecraft then? Did you just like see it and thought it was a good game and you wanted to play, or was there anything kind of behind that?
How did I get into Minecraft? That's a good question. Well, like most people my age, I started playing it as a kid on the Xbox 360. It was the Minecraft, I suppose, which would later become Bedrock Edition, I suppose. But it was the console edition.
Oh,
and
shit, you played it on console as well?
Yeah, Xbox 360 is a console, my guy.
No, I just didn't know. I didn't know you played console as well, because most people just jump straight into Java if they played Java. Not many people are like that.
No, originally I started on console.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Xbox 360. It was, I got it in like 2012 for like a Christmas gift. It was, I mean, obviously I'd watched like Minecraft streamers beforehand and Minecraft YouTubers. Like I remember watching Sky Does Minecraft or something, just as a kid binge watching his content basically. And then eventually I got it for the Xbox 360 and I was really fucking hyped. I was over the moon. And I specifically remember I would not load up a single player world. I would always play the tutorial world, if you remember what that was.
The one where it's like easy to get like every single single achievement. It was just
Yes,
free.
yes. I would just
Yeah.
grab the achievements because it was such a good Star World. You had like a shitty little broken house which you had to rebuild using the wood from the trees and stuff.
The free, what's it called, like peek and fly thing as well. You just climbed up the mountain and jumped off.
Yes.
Oh man,
Precisely.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I would play later on Xbox One, but I suppose the time where I properly got into Minecraft was last year, around about this time actually, where I came across a Reddit post for something called the Cloud SMP, which I joined. That was the time when I started properly playing Java Minecraft, and that was where most of my summer went. And the Cloud SMP later became Astra SMP. And here we are.
Wait, Cloud SMP was previously, like, well, Astra was previously called Cloud, or did you mean you made your own SMP
Yes.
based on that?
It's an interesting story. Do you want to hear it now, or?
Let me quickly talk one more second about me moving over to Java, and then we will get into that story. Like I said, it's just organization wise. I like just to not confuse the viewer as well. I like to keep everything in sections. And plus, the more I hold it off, the more people are lured into the podcast. Like, oh, what's gonna happen?
I apologize because I'm someone who, like, if I get into, I don't know, I get into like random topics, and most time the people are like, "How did we get here?" I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter."
That's lucky enough because I'm focusing enough to be able to steer you away from random topics.
Good, very good. You're gonna need that.
I've had a lot of practice with podcasts. I believe it or not, and Venom, he was a great guy, but he talked. That's why that podcast is like an hour and 50 minutes because he just talked.
I will talk. Like, I will. You said I'm gonna talk. I will talk all day.
Honestly, which is completely fine, just as long as it's not too much. Talking about Minecraft then, because obviously everyone I've like kind of met, everyone I've had on the podcast, Minecraft Java related, they've always played Minecraft Java. Whereas you're a bit like me. You played, because I originally played Xbox. When I started making command tutorials, they were made on the Xbox One and on my laptop. Then I moved to laptop, a really shitty laptop. Then I moved to PC, and then obviously recently, about a month or 2 months ago, when I met you, is when I moved to Java, because I originally met Apathy. Then Apathy introduced me to Otir. Then Otir introduced me to you, and then obviously now you're on the podcast. Exactly. So I've never really had anyone who moved over to Java. So your main reason for moving over to Java was because you found the SMP, right? And then when you were on Java, was it only the SMP you played, or was it like, did you play other things as well?
Originally, I played on a single player world, like most people do.
Yeah.
And I played on a few other SMPs, but they were pretty dog shit if you ask me. It wasn't any big SMPs. It was more like,
just in case, though, just to avoid.
No, I don't even remember the names. I'll be completely honest. Okay. They were like a sort of, everyone can join SMP. It was very disorganized and pretty weird.
And then obviously you came across, what's the name of it again? I'm so sorry. Before
Cloud SMP?
Cloud SMP. Okay, so when you came across Cloud SMP, you were simply just a player.
I was a player, yes. I was a player.
Add Astra SMP, you own.
I'm the owner, yeah.
So now it's time for the story.
The story. It's a fairly long one.
That's all good.
It's not too long, not too short, but whatever. I'll get into it. Cloud SMP. Cloud SMP was a very interesting experience. It was my first proper SMP experience, and as I mentioned, I found it randomly through a Reddit post. It was just some guy advertising his SMP. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I played for a bit, and later this particular owner sort of stepped away, and funnily enough, the first person I met on the SMP, a man named DG Karma, he became the owner. He got the owner title. And me and him, we played a lot. It was a fairly active server, I'd say. And it was all fun and games. We had a few seasons, some better than others. And later down the line, we decided to branch off. We basically compiled the people from Cloud SMP, the people who wanted to come along, and we started our own thing.
Oh, so no, but that's what I mean. So Cloud SMP isn't actually Ad Astra. I thought you meant it just got a rename and a rebrand. You just nabbed people from that and made your own SMP.
Technically speaking, towards the end of Cloud SMP, I got the owner role.
Oh.
I was the guy who was meant to do lore and stuff. And especially towards the end of Cloud SMP, when everyone had already basically beaten Minecraft. They've played the SMP a while. They've done everything they can in Minecraft. I started to try and implement lore things. Yeah. The current owner of that, who is not DG Karma. DG Karma is a good friend, by the way. He's incredible. He does music now on Spotify and stuff like that.
That's very cool.
On YouTube as well. Honestly, hats off to that guy. A lot of respect. And I started doing a lot of lore things in Cloud SMP. Eventually, the current owner of that, he gave me the owner role. But he wouldn't let me, I suppose, do certain things like with commands or whatever to try and make the lore more immersive, I suppose. So I just said, well, I mean, fuck it. Let's grab the people and make another SMP. And Ad Astra SMP is linked very heavily to Cloud SMP in terms of lore.
Okay. And do you still have a lot of the old players from that SMP playing on Ad Astra now?
Yeah. On Ad Astra, on the Discord, there's a Gen 1 role. And all of the Gen 1 people were from Cloud SMP.
The Discord I got kicked from.
Well, I mean, you didn't. Yeah, listen, bro. Listen.
Okay, for context for the viewers, I was originally meant to be playing an Astra SMP, but I'm gonna be real, I'm not ready for roleplay yet. I've actually become a lot more confident with survival. I am hopefully, but it's because this podcast doesn't come out until next Friday, by the way, Cruubs. I'm recording on the 15th right now. Hopefully I haven't died since then, but on today's stream, I looted a ancient city, and I didn't get hit by the wardens once. And I've pretty much beaten Minecraft hardcore now, so now it's just gonna become like building and stuffs.
Very based.
But yes, I wasn't really confident with Minecraft in general, nor was I really confident with like role playing, which I think down the line I might join. It's just not my thing. So I was originally in Astra SMP. I just never got around to actually like being involved in a lore role playing as of yet. But who knows, maybe in the future. But yeah, so the Gen 1 roles, I remember those. So they were people from the previous SMP, which I keep forgetting the name of. I'm so sorry.
Cloud SMP.
Yeah,
Cloud, like clouds in the sky.
I only need to remember Ad Astra, okay? I don't care about Cloud SMP. It doesn't matter anymore. It's all about Ad Astra now. And then obviously Gen 2 was what I was going to be a part of, right?
Yes, you were going to be Gen 2.
Because is Mike Gen 1 or Gen 2?
Mike is Gen 1. He's been around for a very long time.
Hate that.
Like he was there from the I know you do, but he was around from like the very beginning.
No, I love Mike. Don't say that. It's like a hate but jokey hate, okay? Alright, Mike's amazing. Can't hate Mike.
Yeah, he's a great guy, honestly. Don't tell him I said that. Because his ego's gonna go through the roof, but he's a great guy.
To the podcast, anyways, you're good. Don't worry. So obviously with Ad Astra SMP, where did the name come from?
Oh boy. Honestly, this is probably my biggest regret about the SMP. I should have named it something different. Ad Astra SMP came about not because of any particular mods or any particular reason. To be fair, it was just I thought it sounded cool, which in hindsight is not very smart. I know.
I think Ad Astra is like really really good. I think when I heard it, I was like, that sounds like such a cool SMP. Oh,
that's good to hear. I'm happy. I
don't know. The name alone is like really really good. It's just, is there no reason like? But what made you think of Ad Astra?
Technically speaking, there was a very tiny, not tiny, but there was a part of the lore that involved the name, and it was to do with an old faction that got lost to time. Blah blah blah. But there was a reason. There is an in-law reason.
Oh, which is like just something you'd have to know the lore about to kind of understand.
Yeah, you'd have to know a tad bit.
So what is the lore currently then? Because obviously I know the lore I was going to get written into and that kind of thing, which I still feel really bad about, and I'm sorry, but if you hated me you won't be on the podcast, so I'll take it.
It's absolutely fine. So no hard feelings whatsoever.
What's the most recent lore, if you can talk about it, then that's like maybe being planned, or like if you want to talk about the one that just happened, or
in terms of stuff that is planned, I'm not going to spoil it, obviously.
Okay, so but we just happened then.
Yeah, the stuff that I planned, there's a lot of stuff that's planned anyway. In terms of what has happened, for the most part, I'll try and summarize it very quickly. The stuff that has recently happened, for example, there is a kingdom named Omnia, and there is a town named Spawn Town, in Spawn. And Omnia, who is led by a man named Demise, has basically taken over and begun a dictatorship.
Great, okay.
That is the place that we are in the current story. And the general story, like if you zoom things back a lot more, I would summarize Ad Astra in one sentence, and that being sociopath machine manipulates everyone.
So what is your role right now in the lore? Because obviously I know you're the story writer, but like actually in the lore, not like organizing stuff, where do you come into play? Like are you one of the innocent people who are gonna fight back, or are you part of the dictatorship, or what is your role right now?
You know that sociopath machine I just mentioned?
Oh, that's you.
You're talking to him.
Because I remember I was watching Otis stream the other day, and she was getting like however many obsidian for Apathy or something. I hope I haven't spoiled anything. I'm not sure if do you have a
Apathy,
rule? Do you not allowed to look at people's streams, or?
It's more of a case of, I mean, the stuff with Apathy, that's Sinnoh SMP, which I am also a writer for.
Oh wait, that's Sinnoh SMP. Oh, so I thought it was Ad Astra. Oh god.
Yes, I will get into the story of me joining Sinnoh SMP in a second, I suppose.
Yeah,
but in terms of Astra, I am technically speaking the main villain. I'm
even over the dictatorship guy.
Listen. One might say that the dictatorship man was pushed into doing it by an invisible force.
Which is you.
Which is me.
No one knows it's you. That's part of the
No
lore.
one knows it's me.
But I mean, okay, so outside of the lore though, do the people playing know it's you?
Yeah, obviously. They know I'm the main villain, but
Inside
I've been the main in terms of the stuff in Cloud SMP as well, and as well as most of Ad Astra. I have been the main villain in the sense that I am the devil in plain sight. I make deals with people, I grant them their wishes, and in return, I get to know what's happening, and I get to sort of manipulate certain events into occurring the way I want them to.
Oh, so you're just Rumpelstiltskin?
I suppose so.
from Shrek 4, you're just Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, but a little more charismatic and a little more elegant.
Sorry, I just had to say Sorry, it does. It fits the character. You can't lie with the whole like striking deals and making wishes come true. And it just sounds like Rumpelstiltskin, doesn't it? But it's really cool. That is really, really cool. Is it hard doing that with the whole like?
Is it?
Like acting, like obviously being the whole villain thing, but then like you know what everyone else is doing right now outside of the law, and they know like so outside of the law people know you're the villain, but inside the law they don't know you're the villain. Is it like is that hard like acting like with for instance say I don't know say okay I'm just saying Apathy's just been crowned king, okay, all right, let's just say inside the law for sake, you know outside of the law he's been crowned king, but inside the law you don't know he's been crowned king because it's been elsewhere. Like is it hard acting that like you know but you don't know? Like is it hard to like kind of just change that and like not slip up kind of thing?
In terms of me, no. I'd say I'm a pretty fairly good actor in that sort of sense. I can stick up with that sort of idea pretty fucking well. I run with it pretty easily, I'd say.
Okay, so but I mean like because obviously you do all the lore on stream, right? Have you streamed every single time there's been lore, or are you sometimes just in other people's streams?
I am sometimes. There are moments where I am in other people's streams because I appear. Maybe I'm watching from afar or something. I play minimal roles in certain people's streams, and I just don't stream that because it's like a 5-minute interaction. It's like, why would I stream that?
Oh, okay.
The stuff I stream is when I'm scheming or when I'm watching or when there are certain events that are occurring, like big events. I'll be watching from the sidelines, or I suppose there are big events and no one else is streaming. Well, I've got to be there, right? I've got to record it.
And are people allowed to watch your POV? Like,
yes, they are.
So they know, like, is that like, that's what I'm saying? Is that not hard, like watching someone else's POV of a stream and knowing exactly what they've done and then acting differently, as if like because like, you're not meant to know, so you have to act as if you're absolutely clueless and you can't slip up and like go to him, but like, oh look, and like you have to make it so obvious that like you can't make it obvious that you know what's there or what you're running into. So like someone's made a trap in your base and you watch them build the trap in your base, you would then have to go and for lore purposes not know that there's a trap in your base. Do you know what I mean? Like is that like not hard to just alter like that?
I suppose so, but here's the trick. There are certain things in the lore that either aren't recorded or aren't told anywhere on stream. So there were certain things that we keep from the viewers, I suppose, in terms of what's going to be done. For example, the last stream I did, there were 3 new Omnia members coming in and they were meant to basically rob everyone in Spawn Town.
Okay.
The prompt I gave everyone for that stream, everyone who was, I suppose, involved in it, was, these 3 people are new to the server. Welcome them in with open arms. And so everyone's reaction was extremely genuine, because they were all expecting friendly faces, and instead they got fucking robbed.
But then you knew, that's what I mean. So like say, I mean, but with you specifically, because you write the lore is what I mean. So you know everything anyways.
Yes.
Like without the whole, and in the lore, you know everything. But outside the lore, you also know everything anyways. Like, so is that like maybe not a bit harder to, like, say it was you who had to act genuine. Is that not hard to do because you know what their main motive is? Or do you just kind of, are you just that good of an actor where you can kind of do that?
I'd say I'm a good actor, but I feel like I've also sort of cheat coded it. I play a character who most of the time knows just about everything.
Oh,
because
so
he's the one who's causing the events to happen. So there's rarely a moment where my character wouldn't know what's going on. But if there are like small moments like that, I can act that pretty well.
So rather than Rumpelstiltskin, you're actually the Watcher from oh god, what's the name?
Marvel.
Help me here. Yeah, but what if? What if that's what? Because that sums you up better because you are the Watcher, like you're all knowing, and then you kind of.
I am the puppet master.
That's the one, puppet master. That's the word here as well. I mean, they all work. I hope saying Rumpelstiltskin didn't offend you. By the way, I just
no, it did not.
Obviously, you're a lot better than Rumpelstiltskin. I just No, but you went quiet, so you kind of scared me. I was like, oh no, who's offended Cruubs?
I was taking a sip of my drink.
Okay. But yeah, so that's Ad Astra. So I guess moving. I mean, unless you have anything else to say about Ad Astra or how it's like come to be and stuff like that, or is that mainly the main thing?
I will also touch upon Sinnoh SMP.
Sinnoh SMP. Yeah, of course, sure, yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Sinnoh SMP. That was an interesting. It was an interesting sort of experience. I met Apathy and Sinnoh, the main people of Sinnoh SMP, through an event I made called Dust Till Dawn.
Which I'm gutted I didn't get in, by the way.
I don't think we knew each other at that point.
I know we didn't. That's what I mean. I just wish I knew you sooner.
The Dust Till Dawn was I'll touch upon that very briefly. It was basically, one day I woke up, I had a dream about like some sort of zombie survival thingy, and I was like, hey, let's do that in Minecraft. For about half a week, up to a week, I compiled a bunch of zombie mods, I launched a server, and I was like, hey, let's just grab all the Astra people, plus whoever else IoT grabs, who was Apathy and Sinnoh, and Shades as well from Sinnoh SMP. We put them all into a world, gave each person 4 lives, and the end goal is 1 person will remain. Good luck.
Can you spoil who won that, by any chance?
I can spoil who won that. The person who won was an individual named Casper.
Okay.
K4
Yeah, I know
Asper.
Casper. I know who Casper is. Yeah.
You know who they are. Yes. As to how they won, well, you're gonna have to check out Apathy's videos on that.
Yeah, that one don't spoil.
Nope, not spoiling.
Did you not think to make a video on that yourself? Because I know you streamed it, right? You did stream it.
I've streamed everything. In terms of videos, well, my thought process was this. I am not the best editor on planet Earth. Apathy's a pretty good editor, and he himself offered to make the videos. So, I mean, why would I make videos if I have someone else making them, already?
And Apathy made it decently far as well, didn't he? So
Apathy, yeah, he made it decently far as well. And obviously his editing skills are fucking godly. So, I mean, I could try and do like my own videos, but they wouldn't be as good. They would be nowhere near as good.
So back to Sinnoh SMPs. Obviously, you made the zombie survival mini event. I
befriended Apathy and Sinnoh through that. I'd say especially Apathy. I'd say we're pretty good friends now. I don't want to spoil what happened, but through it, we became very good friends at the end. And I believe he asked me to help write one of the Sinnoh SMP episodes, right?
Because he knew about Astra.
Yes.
Okay.
Apathy is the writer for Sinnoh SMP, and he asked me to help him out. And we did a script, which I will be honest, in hindsight, didn't go very well. Solely because it was a very how do I put this? It was a very rigid script. It was literally like a screenplay script. Like, this character says this character says this. Whereas most of the time in Astra, the stuff that I do is whenever I do scripts, not to mention that we've gotten to the point where most people can act themselves. Like, they're pretty good actors in Astra. You just give them an idea and they'll run with it. They'll make a 1 hour, 2 hour stream out of it. But the way I do scripts, if I have to, is I give a very general idea of the sort of things that are meant to happen. I don't give dialogue. The people in Astra already know how to play the characters. It's their characters after all. So they'll create the dialogue that they see fit with their characters. So in Sinnoh SMP, I came on and we wrote this particular episode, and it didn't go very well. However, that particular episode did manage to entice me, and I asked Apathy, hey, have you got a place free for Sinnoh SMP? And he was like, instantly, yes, yeah, you're in. And through that, I became the co-writer for Sinnoh SMP. Both me and Apathy write Sinnoh SMP, and it's a very wonderful experience. Actually, it's very fun to do.
So what's your main? Because you're the almighty one in Ad Astra, but what about in Sinnoh? What's your what do you say, lore? Is Sinnoh SMP lore based as well, would you say?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so what is your lore character then in Sinnoh SMP?
Let's just say Sinnoh SMP. I need to be careful with my wording here. Sinnoh SMP is the same character as Ad Astra, but not really. But yes, really. So it's the same character.
So you're just always the bloody bad guy then. You're never the good guy.
I don't. I don't. I'm not very good. I'm sure you could tell by my demeanor and how I carry myself. I'm not a very good guy.
You give off amazing guy vibes, Cruubs. That's why we get along so well.
I mean, in terms of thematically, like the way I present myself, I'm better written as a villain.
Oh yeah.
I'm better written as a very imposing, villain, as opposed to someone who's on the sidelines or someone who doesn't have a lot of involvement, so to say.
I know. You bullied me in Crab games, so you are very villainish.
Everyone bullied each other. It was part of the game.
Part of the game,
right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, if you hated me so much, you wouldn't be on the podcast right now. So,
dude, I don't hate you. I don't know where this idea came from.
Did you not hear what I just said? I said if you hated me, you wouldn't be on the podcast. I know you don't hate me. I'm saying it as a joke.
Good.
Don't worry. You do hate me though. So I guess moving on from the SMP stuff then. This is a podcast and we are talking on the podcast. This is a podcast in which is recorded. I basically edit it up to cut out all the silent parts so it just flows perfectly. And then I upload it to the podcast YouTube channel. I also upload the podcast to Spotify. You know how podcasts work, and you own your own podcast.
I do own my own podcast.
Specifically, and honestly, a very, very original name, Cruubcast, or is it Cruubscast?
Yes.
Which one is it, Cruub or Cruubs?
I think it's Cruubscast.
Okay, so Cruubscast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
However, you do things slightly differently on Cruubcast.
Ever so slightly.
So we have, give or take, the same idea in how we present the video. Mine is Minecraft characters sitting in the world. Yours is you, and then it's a TV person with the profile picture on the TV screen, right?
Yes. It's to save my time on actually, drawing each individual person.
No, that's fair. That's fair. See, I told you I pay attention to.
Good.
Streams. Speaking of streams, you stream the podcast and then you upload the VOD to your VOD's channel, correct?
Yes, I do.
Why?
In that sense, it's not very professional, I know.
Well,
in terms of why, I will be honest, I do want to sort of travel down the road of making more YouTube-y content, but for now, I just simply don't have time for that. In terms of the entire podcast, the whole concept of the podcast came to me out of the concept of, well, I talk a lot, and I talk a lot with the people I stream with. Why not just make a podcast? Talk about a whole bunch of random subjects for about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. Done. Cool content. People watch. People enjoy.
So you kind of made a podcast for the same reason, because I really like streaming. I like to sometimes say this on stream, and I'm also going to promote you as well. If you're enjoying listening to us just having a conversation, what you guys need to understand is both of us do this on stream. Every single stream
that is
we
true.
do.
Literally.
If you're enjoying the podcast, you can find me on Twitch, Insane Orbitzz, and you can find Cruubs on Twitch, Cruubs01. Literally,
yes.
The exact same name as what's in the title. The only reason it said Cruubs on the Twitter announcement was because 01 looked horrible with that font. So, what I can't stress enough is if you're enjoying us just having a conversation, although we've never streamed before. I mean, I've streamed on my alt with you, but I mean, I'm down to do a main channel main stream.
Yeah.
And I've got an MCCI
I'm down as well.
If you want.
Sure. I've been recently getting into MCCI, although I'm not too good.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not the best either, so we can do that. We'll plan out at one point anyways off the podcast. But I can't stress enough, if you're enjoying us just having a chat, Cruubs streams his podcast. I don't stream the podcast obviously, but I stream for 4 or 5 hours every single day, give or take. If you're enjoying just listening to how us having a conversation, I do this almost daily. Cruubs does this 2, 3, 4 times a week, give or take. So watch our Twitches. We both want to grow. You check out.
We do. Trust me, we do.
But back to the podcast thing. So obviously, because of that whole talking thing, I just kind of I couldn't stress enough just then. That's why you decided you wanted to make a podcast. How comes you decided you wanted to stream it? Is it to avoid the editing, or was that just because you wanted to do it live, or what's the reason behind that?
I have the personal philosophy of just about everything I do, kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone.
Okay.
As you mentioned, as I mentioned previously, I'm not too good of an editor. Plus, I don't have the time to edit. I'm also a uni student, so I've got a bit of things on my plate.
What are you studying?
I'm studying creative writing.
Oh, okay then. All right.
Hence the part where I'm writing a book.
Yeah, hence the whole law thing as well. You're obviously very good at writing.
I am a storyteller.
Sorry, back to the main thing, anyways. With the whole.
So I do it live to avoid editing, but I also do it live because sometimes the viewers come up with some very interesting questions.
Yeah.
Which they can just type in the chat.
And then you can ask it then.
Yes, I can ask it then.
See, the thing
Kills
is...
2 birds with one stone.
See, the thing is like I mentioned to you before, say I say something or I ask you a question, because I don't give people... I gave you a little bit of topics, but I don't give people the topics I'm going to ask them before the podcast unless they really, really want to know. I had a higher up in Cubecraft on the podcast and they really, really wanted to know. But the likes of Ant Venom, he had no clue what I was going to ask him.
Mm-hmm.
But if I turn around and I ask you a question, or maybe you give me an answer that you don't like, slash it. No one needs to know. We haven't had that issue in this thing because you were fine with me calling you Rumpelstiltskin. Had you have not, then that would have been cut out.
I literally don't care. I'm like I said, most of my podcasts are live anyway. So.
But it's just an example. You get what I mean? It's say just for anything, something happened, or say someone was calling you, or someone started calling me, and we had to go for 5 minutes. Easy, just slash it out. Nothing's ever happened. The viewers don't know any of that. But obviously with streaming, I like to stream on one day. But like I said, I stream anyways, and sometimes just me talking. I chat asks me questions, same issue. Chat asks you questions, you answer them. That's a podcast in itself. The only difference with this is
I know precisely what you mean.
So, because obviously I asked Twitter question. I always, with your one, you have the chat ask, but I just make a Twitter announcement. Didn't get any questions for you, Cruubs, sadly. They were all just, I know that guy. Oh, that's my guy. None of them wanted to ask any questions, but that's probably because they know everything about you already anyways. Because of the SMP. But, so it's just killing 2 birds with one stone. Have you ever thought about uploading to Spotify or making a YouTube channel for Cruubscast? Maybe even making your own Twitch channel for Cruubscast?
Not the Twitch channel. I have considered Spotify. I actually considered Spotify because I heard that you were putting your podcast up on Spotify. I was like, oh shit, why didn't I think of that? I might probably do that in the future. I'll see. That's a maybe. But for now I'm keeping it as it is. It hasn't failed me yet.
Maybe?
A highlights channel, yes, probably. Like a just a Cruubscast channel, video. Sorry, a YouTube channel. Yeah, sure, why not?
Highlights are just so like I edited 2 today because my main thing has just been streaming and editing this podcast. I've been so busy with it, so I've actually had to go out of my way and get one of my mates to edit my main channel video for me because I'm just so like caught up on it all. Because like the podcast is my main priority, and the sad thing is, had I not taken that 6-month break, I would have had the views and watch time. So I would have had the subs and the watch time to be monetized, and I'd be earning money from the podcast. And I'm not saying I'm only doing this to earn money. I just mean it makes it a lot easier with like, so we're paying for like thumbnails and like profile pictures or even like on-screen animations, etc. like that. That's why it'd be nice to make money from the podcast. Which I mean, with Twitch, obviously, because you do it on your main Twitch, you get like, do you ever get like subs during it or bits during the podcast?
Oh yeah, I have this one insane guy named Waters who I think has gifted me 90 subs alone.
Jesus.
Like during the Apathy podcast I had, he gifted me like 50 subs just because he felt like it. Literally paying for my rent. But yeah, I get subs during it. I get a lot of views. I get a lot of interaction from it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with the podcast, because it's like my main priority and I'm keeping so consistent with uploading weekly. It'd be nice to be monetized from it. Not the only reason I do it is not like I don't only do it for the money, but do you get what I mean with the whole like,
I understand.
If I carried on, it would have been monetized. So I kind of lost my train of thought there as I was saying it. Who is the biggest person you've had on the podcast so far? I think I know the answer, but I am curious.
Apathy.
What about can I ask this? Most interesting?
Most interesting Apathy, without a shadow of a doubt. I say this with full offense to everyone else who's been on. Apathy is a very interesting character. He's an extremely interesting character, and yeah.
Apathy is a really, really great guy. Because the way I met Apathy is a fun story actually, but I kind of want to have him on the podcast myself, so I think I'll save that for his podcast anyways. I actually need to contact him about that. But yeah, because the thing is, like, I'm not saying it's odd having you on, being a small creator, but like I've kind of branched out a little bit. I was so focused on having like in quotation mark big creators on, but I thought, you run an SMP, you're writing a book, you run a podcast, why not have you on? Like one time a day I feel like I might not have done that, but now like times have changed, like you're an interesting character. Obviously because I edit up it'll be a bit less than this, but we've already been recording for 41 minutes. Doesn't feel like it at all.
No, it doesn't. No, it really does not.
And
I'm happy. Yeah, go on.
Oh yeah, no, you go.
I was about to say, thank you. I'd like to hope I'm an interesting character. I'd like to hope I might carry myself in a very interesting way, and that I'm, let's just say I'm not boring.
Well, my thing is, like, I'm not going to say who, but I think I have, like, 2 or 3 people on the podcast. And as much as they're interesting and stuff like that, it's been so hard to edit because it just, like, with this, like, it doesn't feel like 42 minutes. So when I'm editing, it won't feel like I've edited 42 minutes because the conversation is just flowing. It's interesting. We're talking. There's not many gaps. Whereas, like, some people, like, it's a little bit harder because, I mean, I guess with you, it's a lot easier as well because you're, like, a confident speaker, but not everyone's a confident speaker.
I understand what you mean.
So
I get that.
So with the podcast, what are future plans with it then? So we've already discussed that you're thinking of making highlights, uploading to Spotify. You got any big guests planned? Or did you do it every Sunday, or how like when do you do the podcast? Is there a set role? Like this comes out every Friday. I record 2 weeks in advance, so this is being recorded on a Monday, and then it'll be out next Friday. So then it gives me time to edit it, kind of thing.
Much like my streaming schedule, it is pretty random, I won't lie. I think I give on my Discord or wherever else in Astra, wherever servers I'm in, I give it like a 4 or 5 day sort of notice, being like, hey, the podcast is gonna come soon, and everyone's like, whoa, yippee, whatever. It's pretty random. It's mainly whenever I'm free to do it, and whenever I find the specific person I'm targeting, I suppose.
When obviously I'm just gonna shoot my shot. When am I getting to come on the podcast?
Whenever you want, my friend.
I'm happy whenever. This Sunday? Why am I free this
Sunday? I will get back to you on that. I don't know if I'm doing anything this Sunday. Most of the time, weekend is pretty packed for me in terms of streaming and content. But
well, I mean, I'll let you
there is a possibility.
How about this? If you just figure out a day and you give it to me, I can let you know if I'm free that day. Yeah.
I'll add that to my to-do list.
For the most part, I'm free. It's just Saturday nights I'm not because I play in a UHC event, and I know you like to record at like 10 PM at night. So
I can only do that because most of my viewers are like the Astra folks, pretty much. And so most of them are American time.
Yeah, that used to be my old audience, but my audience is very much European based now, which is quite nice. So it makes it easier for me streaming. I don't have to stream at 10 PM at night. So is there anything else you want to say about the podcast? Or do you want to move on?
Anything else I want to say about the podcast? Well, it's interesting. Go check it out, lol.
How are people going to check it out, though? On your VODs channel? On your Twitch? Like on
my VODs channel and on my Twitch whenever it's going to come out. I have a Discord channel, I suppose. It's not... I created it like a week ago. ago. It's just literally just pings whenever I'm live or something. I'll probably also do announcements there saying like the particular, for example, the SCP stream, or I did FNAF VR recently, stuff like that. Like the sort of main streams I want to do that I plan, because not all streams I plan. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I'm just going to stream today. I just feel like it, I suppose, and I go with it. But for the more planned streams like podcast, whatever, I do announcements and stuff.
Yeah, see, I have a podcast. I have a Discord channel literally called Inside Minecraft, where I ping everyone for a podcast episode, and I ping the highlights roll for a highlights episode. So it's not too bad.
That's pretty cool.
Right, so still talking about your present, and then we'll move on to Cha, and then we'll kind of wrap up the podcast from there, so you have enough idea of where this is going. Let's talk about that book you're writing. So what?
Sure,
you have to give me the name again. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with just remembering.
The Will of Corruption.
Will of Corruption. Okay, and the book is a sci-fi, not Harry Potter, more Avatar type beat.
Did you just say sci-fi?
No, sci-fi.
Sci-fi. They're like the science fiction genre.
Sci-fi.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to say sci-fi
movies.
I didn't mean to say sci-fi. I meant to say sci-fi. That's what I thought I said. I'm sorry. Okay. Right. It's a sci-fi, but not Harry Potter type beat, more Avatar type beat. Yeah.
Yeah. So the sci-fi fantasy.
Okay. Will of Corruption. What is it about?
The Will. It is about.
Sorry, the is very important. My bad. I'm so sorry.
You are probably one of the first people to probably ask me about this. I don't necessarily talk about this a lot.
Well, you can if you don't want to spoil the book. It's completely fine.
No. I can say a few things. I really don't mind.
Give it a bit of promotion, eh?
Sure. Why not? It's been a work in progress for about 4 years now.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It's got about 600 pages, I believe. Or was it 800? I've forgotten. But it's my passion project. This particular book is my reason for living, I will not lie. How do I say this? This has been my passion project. I've enjoyed doing this a lot. I've written a lot of it, and I think the most painful part of this process has been editing. I'll touch upon that very briefly. I need to get this out somewhere. It's so difficult because I would write something when let's say 2 years ago, I'd write something, but now looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I was a shit writer, you know? I need to go back and improve everything. And so the book's technically speaking, the book is finished. It's just going through a lot of rigorous editing. In terms of what it's about, the best way I would summarize it is a fantasy world, a fantasy sort of iteration of Earth, far into the future, where and during this book, a god of darkness arrives, and humanity is forced onto different planets.
Oh, and it's 4 years in the works. When do you reckon it'll be released? A year, 2 years, maybe sooner?
A year. I'd say a year. I know I said that a year ago as well, but I'd say around about a year. I think the most interesting part of writing, but I suppose this book, would be that throughout those 4 years, I think I spent 1 or 2 of those years writing the whole series. Like, I've got 7 books planned, and I know exactly what's going to happen in each of them, right down to the very minute details. And that results in me being able to write the first book perfectly in terms of certain foreshadowing, in terms of things that one would overlook when reading it for the first time, but then later on, after they've read the second, third, maybe fourth book, they can look back on the first book, read that particular line, and say, oh, that makes sense.
How do you go about getting this book released? So is there a professional way of doing it, or is it just going to be kind of like how do you know how you do that? Because I have no clue. I've seen books.
I know it's.
So you know the whole process. Because doesn't it have to get approved or something as well?
Yes, I know. There's a very it's very I wouldn't say complex, but it's a process. That's all I'm going to say. I've been learning about this, for example, in my creative writing classes for university. There are certain topics we have in regards to how to publish a book. And obviously, I'd say this is the most complex sort of part of it. Writing it is easy, and then getting it published is just something else entirely. From what I know, my parents have been very supportive of me, and my father especially, he knows how to publish stuff, and so he's probably going to be the one who's going to be helping me a lot. I obviously know how to publish as well, to a certain degree, in terms of the editing process, in terms of working with a certain publisher and trying to get that out. But it's certainly, I've heard that it can take up to 4 years to publish a book. It can
take very long.
Yeah.
And are you going to have your real name linked to this, or is it going to be Cruubs on the book?
No, it's going to be my real name.
That's going to be your real name. Yeah, we won't talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. I was just curious as to why it would be on.
Bro, I'm not gonna publish a book with the Cruubs on the front.
I mean, written by Cruubs01. I mean, it kind of slaps, you know. Just promote www.//.tv.
Yes, I'll put my Twitch on the front of it. Yeah.
Written by Twitch.tv Cruubs01. People just come to your chat and you're just playing Minecraft. Oh, so this is a really interesting part about the book. Yeah.
It's like,
that'd be good.
what's the law?
What's the law? Yeah. It's just like playing on the SMP role playing and people asking you about the book.
You know what? That actually doesn't sound too bad.
No, it'd be good to talk about on stream.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that'd be it'd be interesting to sort of get to know the author a bit more, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I can always invite you back on the podcast when the book gets released.
Hell yeah, I'd be down.
This might not always turn inside Minecraft. It could turn into like inside content creation or something like that.
You could branch out.
Inside Minecraft kind of just works, so didn't it? Really?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a mainstay name.
So
I was also going to say.
Oh yeah.
I was also going to say very briefly about the thing. Oh yeah, mark my words here on this. If I do become a very successful author, which of course I will, and either that is linked to my streaming or whatever. Let's say both. Let's say in this perfect world, I become a pretty good streamer and a pretty good author. I can guarantee you now that there will be people who will look at my streams and read my book and say, "This is not the person who wrote this."
100%.
This is not the same person. The way I present myself towards in Twitch, like I'm goofy sometimes, I'm serious sometimes, whatever. That's the biggest thing I've heard from people who have read extracts of my book. It's like, there's no way you wrote this. There's no way you're the same person who wrote this, because the book is pretty dark. It gets dark, it gets gritty. There's a lot of serious subjects in there. There's a lot of death scenes. There's a lot of that sort of stuff. It's a book, you know. Yeah. And that's sort of the introverted side of me writing that. It's the more the less silly, the more focused, the more serious part of me that's writing that, as opposed to Twitch and the way I present myself to the outside world. That's more of my extroverted side, you know? I present myself as an interesting figure, blah, 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 all that bullshit.
Whereas this is kind of like, I don't know, like, this is very, like, stereotypical, so I'm not saying it in a stereotypical way, I'm saying it as, like, an example. It's like, when you stream, your glasses off, but when you're writing a book, your glasses on, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, precisely, yeah.
Like, you're a whole different person. Do you know, like, Superman, no one recognizes him when he has his glasses on, but you're a whole different person.
Yep, that's me. I'm Clark Kent.
You're Clark Kent. Is that your real name? That's what it's written by Clark Kent.
Oh, shit.
Twitch.tv Cruubs01.
I've exposed myself. Oh, no.
Oh, no. People are going to steal the book and your name. But yeah, I'm actually excited because I remember you saying about it previously, and I was going to talk about it anyways, but when you said it at the start of the podcast, it reminded me again. But I wrote down on my notes, have notes about what to talk about. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you specifically, because obviously you're very passionate about writing in general, and hopefully you can take a bit of a turn with the SMP, and that could blow up as well. Hey, I thought maybe about resetting Ad Astra. Do you know, for example, like Life still has like seasons and stuff like that. Will Ad Astra ever get reset, or will it just be a case of it's just lore now because everyone's kind of beat the game?
That is a very interesting topic, because that has been in the works, and I don't want to spoil much. The only thing I am going to say in regards to this is one sentence. Sure, one sentence.
No, yeah, go on. Sorry, and I was saying wait as a joke, right? No,
yeah,
not actually wait.
Well, do you know what? Not even a sentence, a word.
Yeah.
Crossover.
Okay. You're collabing with Sinnoh SMP?
No comment.
Alright, anyways, that's enough about the present. It's very interesting, Cruubs. But let's talk in a summary here about the future of Cruubs01. What can we expect from you, Cruubs? Any
What can you expect from me? In terms of the SMP, well, obviously things are going to eventually come to an end, as all good stories do. I hope that the SMP and the lore and Sinnoh SMP, it all goes down a very interesting path, a very, what's the word? Big path. Obviously, the goal is expansion, and the goal is that more people will divert towards both SMPs, because that's, to be fair, I mean, I personally write it because it's a passion, but I also write it because I realize that, hey, there are some people who are very passionate for SMPs, and there are some people who are very passionate for storytelling, just as I am. So maybe I can hook a few people, and they can watch along. As a story writer, I feel if I can entertain just a few people, if there are only just a few people who watch my content or read my book and who are genuinely, thoroughly entertained by the stories that I tell, I've won. I'm happy. And so obviously the goal is the more people watch, the better, right? The more people are immersed into the story, the more people appreciate the story, the more people appreciate the characters. That's a win. And that is the goal for both Ad Astra and Sinnoh SMP.
So you just want to grow and flourish into a nice Cruubs flower.
Yes.
That's sweet. That's your sweet side coming out, Cruubs. I don't think I've ever seen it before.
I don't think anyone has.
And this podcast is really, boy, oh god, this podcast is really exclusive, huh? I'm getting all the deets. Have you ever been on a podcast before, Cruubs?
No.
This is your first ever then.
First time.
But hosting a podcast is easy to be on someone else's. Does it feel
Yes.
different? Feel different being in the because I've never been on a podcast or anything before. So does it feel different being in the passenger seat?
Does it feel different?
Not like it's not different in a bad way. It's
Not
just like,
yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's not necessarily different because, like I said, like I said previously, at the end of the day, it is just two people sitting down and talking.
yeah, but normally if you're asking all the questions, you're not asking any questions this time.
Well, true, but I feel like in my podcast anyway, it sometimes becomes a back and forth, which I'm fine with. It's literally just two people talking. Sure, I ask the questions most of the time, but then eventually it'll lead into a different topic, or maybe the other person will ask me a question, which I'm not opposed to. My podcast is. It doesn't have a lot of structure to it. It is mostly just whatever conversations flow. And if you enjoy us two talking, if you enjoy my personality and the other person who's talking, wonderful. You can stay and give me a view.
Speaking of your podcast then, this would be the perfect time. Promote yourself. Promote anything you want. There will be a link to your VODs channel. I need you to send me that after so I get the right name, as well as your Twitch in the description below. But do you want to, here's your little section, Cruubs, for you to promote yourself. Anything, your Twitter, your podcast, obviously, but like, you get what I mean.
Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Astra SMP, Cine SMP. That's it.
Yeah, but like, advertise it. I don't just mean say the names. I mean, like, where can we find you? Like, at Cruubs01 on Twitter, or like, no, it's not even that, is it? It's like at Ty Guy on Twitter, and then there's Cruubs01 on Twitch and YouTube. Okay. That kind of thing.
Okay. You can find my Twitter at TyGuy77899742. You can find my Twitch at Cruubs01, and you can find my YouTube channel by the same name, Cruubs01. Go check it out. Pretty good content. Totally not biased. Pretty good content, I'd say, in my humble opinion. I like to stream, and if you like to watch it, then wonderful.
Yeah, and if you've enjoyed Cruubs on the podcast today, then I'm sure you'll very much enjoy. Because I mean, it's the same personality. Other than a little bit of wholesomeness, Cruubs hasn't changed one bit. So if you've enjoyed his personality on the podcast, then you also enjoy his personality on streams, etc. Can be a bit of a dickhead, but he's a nice guy nonetheless.
Absolutely, that is part of the charm. I am a dickhead through and through.
You didn't swear as much as I thought you were going to, girl. I said you could, but you didn't really swear much.
No, I didn't. I mean, you said to keep it at like a not too much, not too little.
I
So
said you could swear, but like not. But you didn't swear once, other than when you just said.
No. I have. Trust me, I have sworn.
Have you?
Yes, I've sworn like 4 or 5 times.
I guess I kind of because I listened to your sentences. I guess I just blocked out the swear words by accident. I mean, I was clearly listening.
You're editing it.
I'm gonna sit back in the editing and be like, oh shit, he just said something really like bad. So you have to like bleep it out.
No. Can you imagine?
Oh no. Well,
oops, my bad.
This has been the Inside Minecraft podcast. I think the first time we've had a guest on who isn't really predominantly Minecraft, because obviously you stream a lot of other games. But we didn't really talk about that because it was mainly talking about your Minecraft persona. Who knows, lads? Who knows? We might move into having more guests on who aren't Minecraft if I can get in contact with any. I don't know. I only really know Minecraft people. Who knows? I might have Jack Whitehall on the podcast. That'd be fun. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you again, Cruubs. You've been an amazing guest. I was actually really looking forward to this podcast, and it made up for it.
I hope. Good. I hope it exceeded your expectations.
It did, but it didn't exceed it because I already expected the best from you.
Thank you. Do you mind if I also do a mini outro?
Yeah, you can do the outro if you want.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying. Thank you all for staying. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, dusk, dawn, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Have a good one.
This has been the Inside Minecraft podcast. Don't eat too much bread. Stay safe. Pieces.